Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY projects, we'll be creating some sweet holiday and Christmas home decor items using Dollar Tree supplies. Now to get you all started, I've included the full supply list with the links in the description box below. Now to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, I wanted to say hey, and if you have not subscribed yet, you definitely should, so you will be the first to see hundreds of fresh and original craft ideas on my channel. So let's dive in and get started. Now this project is a candy striped vase decor set. We're going to need 2 of these glass cylinder vases from the Dollar Tree and 2 glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to start off with those cylinder vases and I'm going to be marking them, so I need to mark them in quarters, so I'm marking those in 4 equal spots at the very top of each one of the vases. Now to make my candy stripe design, I am using the electrical tape at the Dollar Tree. Now I like to use this on my vases because it has a little stretch and it conforms tightly to rounded items such as vases like this. Now you definitely could use the vinyl from the Dollar Tree, or you can use painter's tape, but this gives the tightest seal in my opinion. So I put the first piece and I wrapped it around on that first mark, and then at the bottom I marked 4 marks once I found out where that first strip landed. So now I'm taking that second mark and then wrapping it around to match the second mark on the bottom of the vase. And then I'm going to repeat this until I get all 4 strips all the way around, and this is what it looks like. Now for the center stripe, it's going to be a little thinner. So what I'm going to do is have to cut that electrical tape down into smaller strips. Now I'm going to run a strip on my cutting mat and I'm going to divide this into 3 equal strips. So I'm taking my ruler and I'm lining it up, and I'm going to just use a utility blade just to cut it twice across to make 3 strips from this piece. Now I'm going to do this for 2 strips of my electrical tape, and then I'm going to take those thinner strips and I'm just going to run them right in between each one of those larger strips that I ran around the vase. You just want to make sure these fall in the center at the top and at the center of the bottom between the 2 larger strips all the way around. And this is what you'll end up having, is this like candy cane stripe. So once that's done with your entire vase, we are going to flip it over to the bottom. You want to make sure it's nice and clean and all the labeling has been removed. And we are going to be adding on one of those glass candle holders to the bottom. Now for a permanent adhesion, I definitely recommend you use E6000 or Gorilla Glue. But for this project, I am going to be using my hot wood glue to use with this because I may be repurposing these in the future and it won't be as difficult to separate them. So what I'm doing is running a generous amount of that glue around the top of that candle holder and pressing it down. Now this will hold these 2 pieces in place during the duration of when I'm going to be displaying them. They won't come apart unless I really force them, but I did want them to be removable. So I'm going to repeat the whole process for the second one and take it out and give it a couple of coats of white spray paint. Now once it dries, here are the 2 vases. Now this is the fun part. Start peeling away all of those strips of tape off the outside of the vase and your masterpiece will become present. It is totally beautiful. I love this. It looks just like candy canes, and then you just have to do a little cleanup on the inside. Now if you have a little overspray like I did going on the inside of the vase, you could use some fingernail polish remover to remove all of that overspray. It comes out really super easy, and a way to avoid this is if you just go ahead and stuff the inside with newspaper before you spray paint. I should have done that before I sprayed, but the acetone was an easy cleanup in this instance. So to decorate these is really simple as well. You could use some bundled greenery. You could use some winter florals, and I got those from Walmart. You can even use colored craft paper to stick inside to kind of highlight all of that design. You see how simple and easy that is. And you could use textured paper. There's so many different ways that you could decorate these, being that they're just white and you have a basic template. Now the fun thing is you could even add little fairy lights and string lights from the Dollar Tree. You could add the LED candles from the Dollar Tree in white, or even a color version. So many different ways to decorate these. And here are my vases all decorated and placed on display. I mean, how sweet are these? Now, these tall, glamorous vases make such a statement, and I love how they turned out. Now, I opted to place some pine greenery wrapped in fairy lights at the bottom and accented the top with some winter floral bundles. Now, as a final touch, I added a cute red black and check ribbon at the base. Now, there are so many other combinations that you could display these to. You just use your creativity. Now, here is a version where I placed some colored paper inside. Now, I did go with this classic red, but you could use any solid or patterned paper that you wish. Now, you all have to definitely let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. Now, this project is a triple tree decor display. Now, we're going to need 3 of these cones, and I got these for 50 cents for all 3 from the thrift store, but these are also sold at the Dollar Tree. And then we're going to need an assortment of ribbon of choice, and these are from Walmart and Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to be using some ivory chunky yarn that I picked up for $1 at the thrift store. And we're going to need some branch stems from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off with my cones. I'm going ahead and removing those from the package. We're going to be using these for all of our trees in our display. Now, our first one, we're going to be using some ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and grab that yarn, set that to the side. But the first one, we're going to be using this buffalo trick ribbon. Now, I picked up this large 45-foot roll from the plus section at Dollar Tree. You can get smaller rolls, I think at about 12 feet from the regular section of Dollar Tree, if you would like to get that instead. So I'm taking a piece and I'm cutting a little circle out of it just to cover up the top of my cone. So this will actually leave it covered and it won't be exposed once I start wrapping the ribbon around. So I'm hot gluing that right at the top and then adding some glue around that edge and just carefully placing it down and around the top, laying it down the best that I can. So once that top is covered, then I'm going to go around with another little piece that I'm going to cut just to secure all of those loose edges that we just wrapped around the top, and then hot glue those in place as well. Now, once I do that, I can start wrapping my ribbon around. So I fold the edge first, and then I'm going to start wrapping that around. Secure the edge, and then start wrapping it. Now, I wanted my ribbon to kind of puff out like this is a tiered cake. So if you start wrapping it around, it'll naturally start to puff out. But then I'm kind of enhancing that to look like a tiered cake because I wanted that kind of design in this tree. So once you get to the bottom, just secure the bottom of that tree. Make sure your layers are nice and puffed out the way you want to, and then just trim down the bottom evenly all the way around, just enough so you'll be able to fold it in and hot glue it to the bottom of that cone. You want to do this all the way around the bottom. Now, once that's all the way around the bottom, here is what the tree would look like. I'm loving these puffy little tiers. It's perfect, and this is a great accent to one of my little trees. So now we could just sit that one to the side, and we're going to start working on our next one. So the next one, I wanted to go ahead and use some of this chunky chenille type yarn. Now, I believe you could get this from Walmart too, but I did find it for $1 at my thrift store. So I'm going to start by wrapping around that end over the top of the tree or the little cone as shown here. Then I'm going to start wrapping it around. This way the top will be covered. Now, as you wrap it around, you kind of want to start working around at an angle so it'll have that little diagonal look on the tree. Just go ahead and wrap it around really even, making sure not too tight, but just tight enough so it won't be unraveling. Now, once you get to the bottom, you definitely want to go around the bottom edge right underneath the bottom of the cone, just so the foam won't be showing, and then cut that off and then secure that in place. And here is our little chenille tree. I love this one. Now for the third cone, we're going to be using this wide ribbon. This is a wide ribbon. It's not wired, so it won't be as puffy as the first ribbon, but this is a beautiful wide ribbon. I believe this is about 3 inches wide, and I got this ribbon on clearance from Walmart last year. So I just cut off a long strip, and since it is so wide, what I'm going to do is something a little different. I'm going to cut the entire strip in half. Now once you cut the entire strip in half, I'm going to start pulling away 4 or 5 of those strings to give one of the edges that nice, cute, frayed look. So I thought this would be a really cute accent for this one. So we're going to use this accent in this tree. So I cut a little piece off, of course, to go ahead and just cover the top first. Make sure that's all nice and hot glued down into place. And then I'm going to take my strand and I'm going to wrap it around one time and then hot glue that end in place. And once that's hot glued and secured, we can go ahead and clip that off as well. So now that our top is secured, we can start wrapping around the tree. Now we have to start at the bottom so we don't cover our fringed edges. So I'm just going to start by adding a little hot glue at the bottom and making sure I wrap that around nice and neat around the bottom. Now, once you start wrapping it around and meeting up with the other end, you want to kind of go up at an angle. And if it does start to puff out just a little bit, what I like to do is just kind of pinch it in and keep on wrapping. Now, for that first one, once it's done, you want to go ahead and glue the edge down, pull the fringes off the second one, glue it in place, and then just continue wrapping this around the tree. I am loving how this one looks, and a little frayed edge gives it that little farmhouse country type look. Really warm and cozy. I really love how this is turning out. So you see me here, I'm kind of pinching that extra down and tucking it in place as I go. And then at the top, fold that raw edge under and then hot glue that right into place. Now, once that's all tucked in and glued into place, you can go ahead and remove any loose strings that you may have dangling down. You can fluff up those little fringes with your hand just by rubbing your hand across it. It kind of gets those fringes nice and loose and flowy, so you'll be able to see and enjoy them in your project. So now we have all 3 trees done for our project. Now for the bottom, we're going to use these wood stems from the Dollar Tree. Now I sorted through the package to find 3 pretty even pieces, so I was lucky with that. And then you just want to glue one to the very bottom of each one of the trees. And here are all 3 of my trees with their little trunks in place. Now what I also decided to do is take one of these wood slice planks that I got from the Dollar Tree. You may have seen this in my last Dollar Tree haul. I love these things. I thought this would be the perfect rustic accent to this project. So what I needed to do though was to make the middle tree taller. So what I'm doing is taking another one of those wood slices and joining it to the one that's currently there. I wanted this tree to stand just a little bit higher. Now there is a little seam there, but what I did is peel some of the bark off of another piece, and I'm going to hot glue that right over the seam. That way it blends in and looks like one continuous piece. And here it is. This is it all glued together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue this tree right in the center of my wood slice plank. And then we're going to glue each of the other trees at the very end of the plank on either side. And here are all 3 of my trees all joined to that beautiful wood plank. Now I did want to accent my little chenille tree just a little bit more. So what I'm doing is taking some of those little red berries from a bundle that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add each one into that little chenille tree. I'm just randomly placing it all over there. There's no rhyme or reason, and I'm just kind of using, I couldn't find my tweezers, so I'm using my little needle nose pliers to kind of hold them so I don't continue to burn my fingers with hot glue as I add them. And here is what it looks like, really cute. So as a final touch to this, what I did is took a couple of these pine picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm kind of winding them together with the little stems. I'm kind of wiring them together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this, just simply place it at the bottom of that wood plank along the bottom. And I did add a berry bundle to the middle. And here it is. We have our 3 beautiful and crafty trees ready to display. Now, I really love the traditional reds with a touch of rustic in this creation, and coupled with the wood, they have a really warm and cozy look. Then I just simply added a bit of pine and some berries to the bottom, and you have a beautiful display. Now, I really do hope that you give this project a try. Now, this project is a Christmas tree wall decor piece. Now, we're going to need one of these Farm Fresh Trees gift bags from the Dollar Tree, some red velvet ribbon or your ribbon of choice, some foam board from the Dollar Tree, and a plunger handle from the Dollar Tree that I've trimmed on each end so it's ready to use. Okay, we're going to start working off of that plunger. Go ahead and remove that annoying little sticker in the middle. Now, of course, it's leaving a little residue behind. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of sandpaper and just sand it down till everything is nice and smooth. Now, I'm going to be staining this with this Waverly Antique Wax for this project. And I'm going to just add a little bit to the lid, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to apply it. Now, you can dilute this a little bit, but I wanted this to be a really rich color, so I'm not going to dilute mine. And I'm going to apply it to half of that stick, and then I'm going to wipe off all of that excess so it'll allow it to dry. And then just repeat this for the second half and wipe that off as well. And then get those ends as well, and then let that sit to completely dry. Now for the end, once it's done, what I'm going to do is add these 2 beads for the ends. Now I got these beads from a garland strand at Walmart on clearance, and I'm going to add 1 to each end. Now if you can't find beads this large, you could definitely use like ping pong balls. If you paint them, I think that would be a really cute accent, and it would be very inexpensive. So what I'm going to do is take my wood hot glue, and I'm going to join 1 bead at the end of each end of that Dollar Tree wood plunger. Now here they are both joined. You want to let this sit to completely dry and solidify. Now while that's drying, go ahead and grab your gift bag. Now I'm going to be trimming this down, and I want to trim it on these 2 lines here as shown, and I'm going to trim it right along that plank line. I'm going to do this on each side. Now once those are trimmed, open up the bag and then trim off the bottom edge. Now originally I had planned to keep that red and white checkered top on my bag, but after looking at it and where the hole placement was, I decided to just go ahead and trim that off. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off right along the top along that green outline. And now we have our piece that we will be using for our display piece. So grab your cutting mat and also grab that foam board, and we are going to be cutting a piece that this art piece will fit onto. So I'm just going to roughly cut a piece using my utility blade, just a little larger than my art piece on both sides, so we could just get the larger piece of foam board out of the way. So now we're going to center that on the board and adhere it. Now I'm going to be using just a standard school glue stick, and I'm going to apply it to a small section of the back of that gift bag and add it to the back. Now I love using these glue sticks because they don't allow my piece to wrinkle, and you can lift and replace them really easily as you work. So as I add them, I'm adding that glue in small sections at a time and then smoothing it out as you go. Now here is my piece all applied to my foam board, and it's nice and even. And now I'm going to just take my ruler and my utility blade and trim off all of the excess foam board along the natural edge of that gift bag trim. And we're going to do this all the way around our sign. And here it is. This is our art piece all trimmed off and ready to go. So I wanted to give my art piece a little rustic edge, so I'm taking some of this pavement gray acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to just be adding this along the edge just to give it a nice aged worn look. And this is totally optional, but I love how it turns out. So I'm taking a small paintbrush and I'm just dabbing it along the very edge of that art piece, and then rubbing it with my finger just to make it look a little worn. Now as I dab it on the art piece, I'm also dabbing it on that cut edge of that foam board to cover up the white. Now here it is all the way around. You can see it just looks so worn and rustic and aged, and this is exactly the look I was going for this project. So once that has had some time to dry, we're going to take some of that red ribbon. We're going to loop it around. So I guess this loop was about 6 inches or so. And we're going to be adding loops to the back of this sign to actually hang it. So we're going to cut 3 pieces about 6 inches long. Now what we're going to do is we are going to place these on the back of our sign. So flip it over, make sure it's facing the right side up, fold the ribbon in half, and then glue the bottom edge together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place these evenly along the back as shown here, making sure one is in the center and then one is on each side, about 1 inch or 1.5 inches away from the edge. And then on that, where that raw edge end is, we are going to add some hot glue to that part and then add it to the back of the board. Just press it gently in place once you add your hot glue, and just make sure everything is maintaining the spacing and it's nice and even. Now I'm doing a double check to make sure everything is even and everything looks great. Now we do want to cover up those raw edges. You know I love to finish the back of my projects to make it look very professional. So I'm taking a strip of some crafting foam. You could use felt or craft paper or whatever you like. And I'm just adding that over the raw cut edge of all those ribbon pieces. This not only just makes it look neat and professional, but it does give those hanging pieces a little more reinforcement and stability. So here are our loops. Now we just grab our plunger handle and we are going to feed it through all of those loops so we can hang up this sign. And here is what it looks like, you guys. So super cute. Now to finish the hanging, you could do a couple of things. You can add a beaded rope on some jute twine, but for my project I decided to use fishing line. I love using fishing line where I really don't want a handle or hanger to be displayed, and all I'm doing is tying a double or triple knot on each end, just wrapping it around each end of that little rod there and tying it in a double or triple knot. And now you can see you have a almost invisible hanger for your project, so you could hang it up and display it. And there you have it. It is a gorgeous hanging art piece for your space. Now, I really do love crafting with the gift bags at the Dollar Tree, and this was definitely one of my favorite ways to use it. And you could even change it out throughout the year too. Now, you guys, all of these DIYs were so fun to create today, and I hope that these have inspired you to get creative as well. Now, I really love all of them, but let me know in the comments, which one was your favorite today? Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, make sure if you don't want to miss a video, make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell to be notified when we go live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.